Got it. All right, that means everyone is ready and welcome. Good morning. My name is Barbara DeBreen. I am the chairperson of the Committee of Adjustment, and I will call the meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. The committee members include members of council. However, we sit at this table as the Committee of Adjustment and not as members of council. Our jurisdiction lies solely with matters of consents and minor variance applications. The secretary of this committee is Alicia Milne. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variances and consents within the Township of Southgate and is held under the provisions of the Planning Act 1990. This hearing will be in accordance with the Provincial Planning Act, the Municipal Act, and the Township of Southgate official plan. Can I get confirmation of the agenda as presented? Brian and Monica? Be it resolved that the committee confirm the agenda as presented. Any opposed? Seeing no hands, that is carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest. Is there any pecuniary interest or conflict of interest in the matter before us? Seeing none, I'll remind the committee that they can declare pecuniary interest at any time should something arise. Can I get approval of the minutes from July 26, 2023 as presented? Mover and seconder, Joan and Jason. Any questions, errors, or omissions? Any opposed? Seeing no hands, that is carried. I will ask that anyone speaking about an application to state their full name and address for the record. Please keep all remarks relevant to the consent or minor variance application before us, as the Committee of Adjustment has no jurisdiction on any other matters. Any matters submitted to the committee for viewing will remain the property of the Committee of Adjustment and will be available for public viewing in the application file and may be placed online. And thank you, Alicia, for the script. Please direct all remarks and questions to the chairperson of the committee. This will enable the hearing to be conducted in an organized manner. The file before us is B823 JFAB Inc. The purpose is to split the lot into two farm lots. The severed lot would have 380.53 meters of frontage on Southgate Road 8 and an area of approximately 18.82 hectares. The retained parcel will have a lot area of 20 hectares and frontage of 524.75 meters on Gray Road 8. The effect would be to create two farm lots within the rural designation of the Southgate official plan. The location of the land is Concession 4, Part Lot 38, Geographic Township of Croton. The lands are further described as 311343 Gray Road 8. Is there a request for deferral or withdrawal of an application?
There's been none received.
Thank you, Alicia. May I please have clarification that the sign was posted?
Yes, the sign was posted and notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act.
Thank you. Is the applicant in attendance? And if so, would they like to come forward and share anything with regard to their case? Hearing none, I will ask the planner, Clinton Stredwick, to review all comments received and present his staff report. Good morning, Clinton.
Good morning, committee. On a rainy morning. So we have a few comments here today. The first one I have here is from the Public Works Department. They indicate that a safe access can be provided for the consent. And the road standard, it's Grey County jurisdiction, so it'll be the Grey County standard for the access onto Gray Road 8. And then we have Hydro One, indicates that they have no comments or concerns. The County of Gray indicates that provided MDS calculations are submitted and setbacks can be obtained, and positive comments are received from the Conservation Authority regarding the boundaries of the hazard lands. County planning staff have no concerns. They also indicate that County Transportation Services have reviewed the subject application and also have no concerns. So the access onto Gray Road 8 is not a concern, apparently. And then last one we have here is from the Conservation Authority. So the Conservation Authority originally submitted comments and were recommending deferral until further information was received based on how far, like what the distance was between the hazard lands and where the proposed new set of buildings was going to be. That was forwarded on to the applicant right away. The applicant then responded and provided updated mapping and information to the Conservation Authority. And then the Conservation Authority provided an updated comment within that short time frame. So essentially, the Conservation Authority, we have in an email dated August 14th, indicating that if it's able to be shown at least a 30-meter setback from the wetlands on the mapping, the GRCA would not request an EIS and would have no objection to the severance. So he has provided that, and therefore they have no objection. So that's all of the comments from agencies. I do not have any from members of the public. And just going over my staff report, essentially, it's a very straightforward application. The applicant wishes to sever the 100 acres basically into 2 farm size lots, and I say farm size lots because in the rural, the 50 acres is still a farm size lot for this purpose. And they were able to accommodate the setbacks from the hazard lands. There's not a lot else around there to really be impacted by this development. So I don't really see a reason for refusing it. The conditions I have are that a new survey be provided to show the new lot, that a zoning amendment is approved to recognize the reduced lot areas. Our zoning bylaw still requires 40 hectares as a minimum lot size in the countryside. So it would recognize the new smaller lot sizes. And then any outstanding fees and charges are paid at the time of deed stamping. So those are the only conditions I have. Like I said, to me, it seems fairly straightforward, but I'm willing to take any questions you might have on this application.
Thank you, Clinton. Are there any questions from the committee at this time? Martin?
Thank you, Barb, Chair. Clinton, I've got no problem with this. It seems to be an ongoing thing with the Mennonites. They have the families, they want to go back in time and do the 50 lots, which is great. Hazard lands, is that flood? And Barb might answer this too. Hazard lands, is that floodplain as far as that? Because just bear with me, looking at the map, and I don't have it in front of me. I don't have the other laptop, but the hazard lands on this severed piece is pretty large. Can you, and I'm not a farmer either, can you farm that or use it as pasture? Because there's not too much there, you know what I mean, for farming as per se.
Okay.
And I guess Clinton, sorry to interrupt. I guess what I'm getting at is if it's a floodplain, all that is kept for making sure it mitigates any flooding by stopping it. So if it's farmed, any flood will be able to wash off quickly. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm asking, if it can be farmed.
Clinton, would you like to answer?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
So if it's just hazard and not wetland designation, agriculture is allowed in our EP zone.
Yep.
For pasture, and you can't put structures up there.
Yeah.
But you can, if your cattle want to go roam in the bulrushes, they can go roam in the bulrushes. So yes, you can still graze animals there. If you want to, like, it could be, if there's any trees there that, like maples anywhere around there, you could harvest them. If there's any exotic flowers, you could have an apiary for crafting honey, that sort of thing. So there's still lots that can be done in those areas that don't necessarily need a big building or anything like that to do that with.
Okay. And obviously no tilling or using it for cash crop then either. I'm not a farmer, so I don't know.
Well, there would certainly be limits. If it's wetland or like a hazard and it's a bit wet, typically you don't want to grow stuff in there, from my understanding. I'm not a farmer either, but stuff doesn't usually grow in those kinds of soil conditions as well. Stuff will grow, but not as well as in other areas. So it takes more money to get more money out.
Yep. Okay,
So-
great.
So just
Thank you.
to clarify, this is a 30-meter setback from the actual floodplain hazard land.
Yeah, and
So
that's
this is a
that's
buffer?
what the requirement is.
Yes,
The actual setback is going to be closer to 50 meters.
yes, yes.
Good.
So they will have room, and yes, you can graze animals in that area. Any tree harvesting, the county governs that. The Conservation Authority would want to be consulted if they were going to, redevelop that area for farming. Any other members of the committee have any questions? Seeing no hands, Clinton, could you just clarify for me? It says that the severed parcel would have frontage on Southgate Road 8, but the entrance will be on Gray Road 8.
Sure. That's one of those tricky nuances in planning where your access is not necessarily your frontage. The frontage of a parcel is always defined as the shortest distance along an open and maintained road. So for that particular parcel, the shortest distance is actually along Southgate Road 08, even though there's no access coming off of there. So that would be its frontage, but the access is actually from Gray Road 8.
Causes a little confusion when you're trying to figure out, do you live on Gray Road 8 or do you live on Southgate Road 8?
Yes.
It'll be Southgate Road. I mean, Gray Road 8.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any others in attendance that would like to speak in opposition of this application? Are there any present that want to speak in support of this application? I'll ask the committee if they have any questions or comments at this time. And I will now ask, I'm going to read the recommendations so that we know what we are granting or with, not granting. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment, I have to, hang on one sec. Read it. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment receives staff report PL 2023-039 for information, and that the severance be approved with the following conditions: that a survey be provided, that a zoning amendment is approved to recognize the reduced lot area, that all outstanding taxes, fees, and charges are paid, if any. Could I get a mover or seconder to grant, refuse, or defer the application? Brian and Martin.
You were first, Brian.
Sorry, no, I'm asking for a mover and seconder. Brian has moved.
Oh, sorry.
You have
Sorry.
seconded.
Yeah.
If there is comment at this time. Otherwise, we will move the decision to, Brian, was it to grant? So Brian has moved to grant the application as I had read, and Martin has seconded. Is there any further discussion? Any opposed? Seeing no hands, that is carried. The decision of the Committee of Adjustment is to grant the application based on the reasons I had read. And the committee members will sign electronically. I can now call for, I believe, have I said everything that I'm supposed to say? Oh, the decision of the committee is to grant the application. The applicant shall have 2 years in which the conditions must be met. I have a mover to adjourn. Monica and Martin at 9:17 a.m.